Grand Rising, beautiful people. This is Kiki coming to you today to send nothing but love, peace, and happiness your way. I wanted to come on real quick to talk to you since school is about to begin for many of you guys. This message is mainly for the parents and or caregivers, whoever that can relate to this information. As a elementary teacher, I felt the need to come on to share some information and hoping that this can help you start your school year off successfully and to reduce a lot of the division that can happen between the parent and teacher and student. Also to help inform you on some of the things that actually take place inside of the classroom. So I'm giving you the inside secret tips on the do's and don'ts, and based on just my experience alone. And if any other teachers out there want to add their tips and advice, please feel free to comment below in a respectable way. Remember, our community here is to uplift each other so we can do better. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so let's see where we're going to begin. We're going to begin with school supplies and requirements. Now, many schools are they have their own procedures and guidelines. They're different. Some schools require uniform. I have had the opportunity to work at both a uniform school and a public school where they don't require uniform. I mean, they require certain colors, but they're not really hardcore. Oh, you gotta, have uniform on. Parents, please preview your child's clothes the night before they get up and go to school. I have seen many crazy things over my lifetime being a teacher, and it's just going to make your life harder if you allow your child to come to school with anything on that's outside of the uniform policy. I've seen students walk around with their belly out, crop tops. I've seen students walk around with their little sister skirt on, and I don't even know how they got a chance to fit in it. Like, I've seen a fourth grader, and when I look at her size, her petite size, reminds me of probably size 12, but she was able to squeeze in a size 7, 8 pair of pants. So, and you can just imagine what that looks like. Also, make sure your child stays up to par with hygiene products. It is very difficult to focus on a child's needs when the smell is too outrageous. Like, I've seen fourth graders or have experienced fourth graders coming into my classroom smelling like they didn't take a bath in 3 days. I have smelled fourth graders with dirty clothes on. So they probably did take a bath, but they didn't have enough clean clothes, and they smell like they urinated in their clothes and it never got washed, but they still had to wear it to school. So just please keep that in mind when it comes to sending your child to school, because let me tell you the effects. If your child is coming to school with anything that is not typically normal according to the clique that's going on at the school, they will be called out. And sometimes they are called out by teachers that are insensitive. Sometimes they deal with bullying, teasing. Like I said in a couple of my videos, there were times where this boy came to school, fourth grader, came to school with his hair unkept. He was growing locks and shaved on the sides. And his mom, I don't know what happened, but she was not washing it. She was not oiling it. She was not keeping it up, which caused fungus sores to grow in his scalp. So me and this teacher was kind of going back and forth because she was like, this boy walking around with ringworms. And I'm like, well, there's different types of sores that can be in your scalp, and it's not considered ringworms. Sometimes some people deal with what is psoriasis? I think that's one name. Some kids deal with just some type of just dry patches because of their hair not being maintained and kept. And so the teacher was trying to make the child stay home because she felt like it was contagious. But I'm like, this boy been in my classroom for almost 3 months with the same sores in his head. And his mom did try to put some type of ointment in it, but it's not really contagious. It's something else that's going on in his scalp, but it did need to be treated. So just know that teachers, we try to vouch for your child. We try to make your life easier without you having to take off from work and deal with your child. But just understand, if you are sending your child to school sick, we're going to call you. You might as well keep your child home. That is not fair for you to send your child to school sick and then the students getting sick and the teachers getting sick. Like I said, there were moments where a student came to my classroom with diarrhea. And I was like, well, why didn't you mention to your mom this morning before you came to school that your stomach was upset? And she was like, well, I did, but my mama still made me come to school. She said she wasn't going to let me stay home. So definitely know that we're going to send their ass home anyway. So sending them to school thinking that they're going to get by and get through the day. No, we do not want to be, we don't want to be infected by anybody with no stomach flu, no flu, no other virus, no, none of that. So yeah, just be considerate of that. And look up some home remedies. There are many home remedies that you can, implement to keep your child from being sick. And another thing too, do not send your child to school with a whole lot of Takis and candy thinking they're going to be able to function and cooperate. The main thing that I'm learning about how school is structured, especially when it comes to the curriculum and the things that they need to learn and retain to pass to the next level, is all about memory. If you are sending your child to school with a poor, healthy diet, no, you can't put poor and healthy together, with a poor diet, and they're not going to bed on time, they're staying up 2 till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on TikTok or on live chat with whoever, playing video games, and then you expecting them to come to school to perform according to the state standards, you are setting your child up for failure. And you cannot come in the room getting pissed off with the teacher, because the teacher got to put the truth in on what's going on with your child grades and how they're performing. And you definitely going to look dumb putting your child on punishment or trying to beat your child because they're not performing all A's and B's in class. Like, come on, make it make sense. There's a procedure with everything. There's a procedure when you brush your teeth. You already know you got to brush your teeth every morning and at nighttime. And if you're not providing your child with the right type of toothbrush or the right toothpaste and the right dental hygiene, then 9 out of 10 they're gonna have cavities and issues with bad breath, halitosis. But if you are preparing your child for each step, okay, I'm gonna show my child a proper way to brush. I'm gonna make sure that they remember to brush day and night. I'm gonna make sure that they don't overeat a whole lot of sugar stuff or types of foods that get stuck to their tooth or their teeth. And then that's kind of like reducing the chances of them failing or having problems where you got to spend out money for them to go to the dentist to deal with any dental issues. So that's what I'm saying. Don't skip steps and then you not doing your part and then you want to come and act an ass in front of the teacher. And I'm speaking this way because I have been through some bullshit. I have been through it. I have been through situations where the parents would not force or enforce or make sure their child attend school. So they had poor attendance, but then they come to me and be like, well, why is my child missing? Why is my child got all these zeros in the grade book and I don't get it? Because the child ain't here. And then when they do finally come back to school, they're trying to make up for something that we did 2 weeks ago. And who got time to go back and try to make sure they make up for it? Now, if your child got a medical issue, it is your responsibility to inform the school so the school can make note of it. Then we can provide the extra makeup work. But when you're trying to chill and be laid back or hang out and too tired to wake up and get your child to come to school, that is not my responsibility to make sure that your child come to school or make up for 2 or 3 weeks worth of work. That is just not fair. It's already hard enough because one time I have had opportunity to teach 2nd grade where I'm only responsible for like 25 students. But when I have to teach 4th grade, that is like, and then it's by blocks. I'm responsible for students. So don't come in expecting me to work miracles when you know your child ain't right. Another thing you need to know, the food that your child is eating. Listen, now I'm not trying to be a health expert or a nutritionist, but I just know enough. I done gained a lot of weight, lost a lot of weight, gained a lot of weight. I have been around kids that show a difference in their grades based on what they're eating. So if your child is coming to school eating Debbie cakes and hot Takis, like one time I opened this girl lunchbox because I think she wanted me to pass something to her. And I'm like, dog it. I opened her lunchbox. Her lunchbox was covered and filled up with Jolly Ranch. And I'm like, okay, I can understand probably 6 pieces. She took 2 bags and dumped it inside of her lunch bag. And I'm like, I know, ain't no way in the hell you about to eat this. Now, mind you, this was a time when we were already celebrating, what holiday we were celebrating? We were celebrating something where all the kids was bringing in cupcakes, cookies. But this child was walking around with a lunch bag for a whole week or so full of candy. And I'm like, this don't even make sense. So when that happens, then that's creating a sugar rush. That's causing your child to be high off candy. So if you ever seen somebody high off alcohol or drugs and they kind of like jittery and they can't sit still, that is the same sign as ADHD. That is what your child is going to be. That's how they're going to be acting in my class or any class. So when they can't focus because they're so hyper and they jittery and they're knocking and making sounds and they talking and they don't want to stop talking during instruction, then that is why they can't retain the information. Because remember, school is about the brain. It's all about what you're retaining in your brain, and you have to regurgitate what you're retaining in order for them to feel comfortable enough to say your child met mastery and they can move on to the next level. So just know, don't trip if they come to school with a whole lot of junk food inside of their lunchbox and you expecting them to perform well in school. Did I talk about bullying? Please talk to your child about bullying. And see, some kids feel like, well, they don't understand the difference in just teasing somebody. You know, like, okay, let's see if I can come up with an example, because I'm very much a victim of this when I was in high school. If somebody is saying, like, maybe some girls your child is hanging around, we'll just use a girl as an example, and maybe the girls, they'll be like, look at TT, she finally got her hair braided, about time, but girl, that look good. Okay, that's not really considered bullying. All right, that's just some people secretly hating, but they just want to call your child out, but that's it. It's a done deal. Everybody complimented her in their own special, unique hating way. All right, that is not really considered bullying. To me, it's not. Now, if somebody is constantly teasing your child, like, okay, first they talked about her hair, now they talking about her clothes, now they talking about making up lies, talking about she done fucked somebody, or cyberbullying her, or pushing her, or trying to meet her in the restroom and trying to provoke her into a fight, that's bullying. That's a whole different program. That's considered bullying. If your child is caught bullying, that is a referral. If your child is caught using degrading words, I don't care if it's a black child picking on a white child picking on a black child, that is a referral. And I don't care how much you tell me, oh, my child is not like that at home. Well, they're not at home. They're at school and they're around other children and other peers, and they're trying to show out and they want to get attention, whether it's negative attention or positive attention. That's why I always preach about making sure you give your child some type of attention at home, not just negative, not when they do something negative, because what they'll do is if they're not getting attention at home, they'll go ahead and act a fool in school. And that's another headache for teachers to have to deal with. And so just know that if there's a classroom filled with students and you have at least 5 to 8 students that is lacking something at home, maybe they're lacking food, maybe they're lacking the resources they need to feel comfortable, clean clothes, healthy food. Maybe mama is locked up, daddy's locked up, or maybe daddy's cheating and mama and daddy always fighting at home. When all of that mess is going on, then we got another child that's supposed to be on medication because they got a learning disability or anger issue, and they're supposed to be on medication, and they forget to take the medicine, or they ran out of medicine. Keep that in mind. When you got another child that's trying to pretty much introduce all the kids to sexual images and inappropriateness, or they come to school dressed to entice the boys, or maybe the boys trying to be flirty and fill on the girls, just keep in mind, when you get all of those type of people inside of your classroom, there's not going to be an easy experience. I don't care how much teacher or principal claim that they're experienced. I don't care how much they brag about, because I've had that. I've had principals try to brag, man, I've been doing this for 30 years, but everybody's still walking around acting a fool. You just had to have a student pepper sprayed by the deputy. So telling me you got something under control? Hell no. You do not have the magic formula to reach and control a whole lot of kids with no manners and at-home issues. You just don't. And they put pressure on the teachers, expecting us to have some kind of miracle. Like, I have been observed, and on my evaluation, they're telling me all the kids not focused. I'm like, okay, listen. If you have 25 kids, and probably 5 out of those 25 kids are not engaged in a lesson. Maybe one of them laying down with their head down because they didn't go to bed on time. Maybe another one is kind of like bouncing around, playing and talking to another student because they probably had a bag full of candy before they got to school. Maybe there's another one that did not take medication because they already know when he don't take medication, it's a wrap. There ain't no need to even try to talk to him because he might get up and slap somebody in the head with a chair. So when you got that going on, you're not going to get a 100 on your evaluation unless you really, if it is where you got everybody focused and under control, please reach out to me, because let me tell you what I noticed. There are students that will sit in the classroom and very engaged. Yes, answering, raising hands, trying to answer questions. And when you get them that test, they flunk it out. And I'm like, well, what in the hell you was sitting in the classroom staring at me for if you gonna get an F on your test? So I've seen that. I've seen kids that was acting a straight ass fool. I mean, climbing under the table, crawling under the table, drawing pictures, and they ace a test. Straight out, ace a test. And we trying to figure out, okay, wait a minute. You was only, and I even sent children out my classroom because they were so disruptive, and they still come back and ace a test. So just keep that in mind. We're all connected. So I'm just saying, don't expect miracles to happen unless you decide to homeschool your child. But this is what comes in our classroom. This is the type of behavior. And we have parents that try to come in, they don't want to take accountability, and they want to bitch about every little thing. I don't understand. My child was walking around with some type of hand sanitizer and somebody stole it, and I demand that they return it. I'm like, what the fuck? You think I come to school to be an investigator? I don't even like, I know I had to sign a report, but I don't even like getting involved with DCF, CPS reporting type shit, because a lot of that just be bullshit. They be snatching kids out of the household and send them into a foster care system that they be just as worse. Or they be giving out names and then the parents want to come and confront the teachers. And let me tell you, I may be very educated. I might have a little cute face, but I know how to act a straight ass fool when somebody is being very disrespectful and threatening my life because of some DCF report. Because basically all they do is come in and they try to be nosy. If you get a report, don't give them anything to take your kids away. If somebody file a report and say if one of the social workers come out to your house, if you got food in your refrigerator, if you don't got no perverted ass boyfriend hanging around smoking weed, walking around in his boxers, if you have things looking decent and orderly and safe, you don't have to worry about your child being removed. Now, if your child come to school with bruises all over their body, then yeah, you just gave them a reason to take your child away. And see, you cannot, well, I don't want us to overstep boundaries, but don't beat a child ass if they learning behavior from you. Like, that's why me and my mom don't see eye to eye. How in the hell you gonna call us stupid bitches when we learned a lot of the behaviors from you? Like, what? How that make sense? How you want to punish somebody if you ain't making good choices yourself? So, if you're teaching your child how to be a hoe, don't get mad at them for coming out to the school and trying to sleep with all the boys or try to sneak around and give them all head. Because I've heard about stuff like that. Girls sneaking and finding a little corner in the school because cameras don't be everywhere. And how I know? Because it was a fight that took place with my daughter that was supposed to be recorded on camera, but they claimed that the camera was not able to get the whole full view. And those girls were dead ass wrong, but they got their consequence. They got their consequence. So I'm cool. I'm chilling. So I talked about, let me make sure I'm going to do a recap because I don't want this video to be too long. I talked about grades and how to get your child to pass to the next level, which requires a lot of good sleep at nighttime. I ain't talking about babysitting nobody or waking up to some domestic violent noise. I talked about how your child have to attend school to know what they're learning. I talked about how to reach out to the office in case your child have a medical issue or you got a medical issue. I talked about bullying and how to recognize the difference between a tease versus bullying and the words that are not acceptable, especially in my classroom. Make sure I covered everything. And also, the last thing I'm going to leave with, and I'm going to stop it here. Do not be so quick to take your child word at face value. Your child may be very honest with you because you get to slap your child upside the head if they lie or they get caught lying. When a child is lying about what they didn't do in school, do not be so quick to take it face value. I have been in classroom where there's cameras. So if anytime you want to request a video view of what your child did or didn't do, or who did something to your child, all you got to do is ask the principal, can you view footage of what took place with your child? Because your child will throw something in the classroom and pretend that they didn't throw it. Or your child will make threats or say they're going to kill another child, or they're going to come back to the school and do something to the school and pretend to you that, no, that's not me. I would never do anything like that. Or a child being raised up in a racist environment and come to school and take it out on the children, but then promise and say up and down that that's not me, Dad, our mom. I would never say anything like that, knowing damn well you know what type of child you raised. So before you decide to send out a long email challenging the teacher or questioning the teacher's teaching abilities, you make sure you come correct with your shit, especially when you know what type of child you have raised. If you raising your child with YouTube content, know that your child gonna learn something negative and come back acting a straight ass fool. There are not everything that's on YouTube is not always censored. There are some people that still get to put up racist remarks in videos. There are some people that still put up things that are very inappropriate. So if you're allowing your child to do whatever they want, then that is what results you're gonna get. If you do not have parental control on, then don't be shocked when your child is already interested in sex. Like I told you, my stepdaughter was already when she was in 2nd or 3rd grade, writing a note talking about she want to blow drop somebody in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, well, I know for damn well she didn't get that from me, because I'm home all day. And I'm like, okay, well, where is she getting this from? She could be getting it from her peers that do not have supervision, or she could be getting it from whatever she's viewing on the social media. So just know that everything that your child tells you is not always the truth. It's not always the truth. And I know for me, I can't speak for other teachers, because there are teachers that show favoritism. I'm not gonna lie about that. There are teachers that like to target certain cultures. I'm not gonna lie about that. And there are teachers that are so over it to where any little thing your child does, they will be quick to try to send them to an ESE classroom, even though your child do not qualify or do not really supposed to be in the ESE classroom. So just keep that in mind. But just know, for me, I can't really speak for everybody else. I do not like dealing with drama. I do not like having confrontation, going back and forth about what a child said and what a child didn't say, and you challenging me. My child ain't like that. You don't know how your child is when they're not around you. So don't be so quick to assume that your child is all angels and innocent when they're not around you. Because, of course, teachers can't slap a child upside the head, even though we be wanting to. I don't lie. I'm being real. You listen. I know that some people get offended. They get in their feelings with some of the things I say, but I'm saying the things that everybody else want to say, but they too scared to say. That's how I come. If I'm talking about anything with religious issues, that I'm saying what sometimes the pastor want to say, but he's scared that he gonna lose members and he don't want to say it. If I'm talking about sex and how things are going on inappropriately in our black communities within these men and women, that's because some women are afraid to say it because they don't want to be solo. They don't want to be left alone. Some men don't want to say it because they already got insecurities and they don't want you calling them out. When I'm speaking about things that's going on inside the classroom or in the government sector, no, I'm not there, but I observe our environment in our community. And so when I know the shit ain't looking right, I'm going to call it out, because, Trump, he probably don't care. He going to say whatever comes to his head. Yeah, that's a different ballpark. But some people have some type of status and title, and they are afraid to speak the truth about things that they have experienced because they trying to hold on to a check, or they trying to hold on to some type of image. And I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of being bare naked and exposing whatever I feel like I need to fix. So if I'm going to be brave and expose myself, I'm going to expose the things that I have experienced. So I'm sorry if you get in your feelings and that's a you problem. That's not a my problem. So, but this is basically what I wanted to leave you with. Just keep in mind, always keep track of what your child is doing, who your child is talking to, what your child is talking about. Please have that sex talk with your child. I don't care if your child is in 1st grade, because if your child going to the restroom, it is out of our control. We cannot stop what goes on in the restroom. We can only time them and know how long it take to release waste, but we're not in the restroom to know if somebody is being touched or somebody trying to rub their wee-wee on somebody else. We're not in there to control that. And so if your child is exposed to somebody forcing them to be sexually inappropriate or with the same sex or whatever like that, you need to have that talk with your child. And you cannot come to your child talking about no pocketbook. They need to know, okay, look, these are the terms that children are using these days. They are not using the word vagina. They're using the word pussy. They're using the word dick. You need to know all of the slang terms. You need to let your child know this is what's going on. This is the mindset of certain people. These are the people you don't want to be around. And these are the people that you just, and teach your child self-defense. Okay? I may have to write both of them up, but I know there are times when one child need to kick some ass. Trust and believe that. Because no matter how much we write referrals, it does not change the behavior. Some kids be like, yes, I'm on vacation. Some child and came back and said, oh, we had free time. We got a chance to play video games. So I'm just trying to tell you, keep your mind cleared and open at the same time. I love you. And until next time, take care.